The surge has worked. It's provided a level of security I haven't seen. We're finally getting a formula right. Now's the time to pour it on, not withdraw. More of the same. More political, economic, military support will affect dramatically the outcome in Iraq. Now's the time to reinforce Iraq, not to withdraw. We have a chance to change things on the ground forever in a way that would contain Iran and diminish al-Qaeda. So to my colleagues in the Senate, go for yourself and see what's happening in Iraq. It is positive. We're a long ways to go yet, but we're about to turn a corner. We certainly have militarily. We're going to turn a corner economically and politically if we stay engaged. The surge is working.
Hi, this is Josh Marshall from TPM Media. It's Tuesday, September 4th, 2007. That was Senator Lindsey Graham talking about the successes of the surge just this past Sunday on one of the Sunday shows. Now, going into the next couple weeks, we're going to have a grand political debate about whether the surge has been successful, whether it's going to continue, and really in a larger sense, the entire Iraq war in general, and whether we should stay or whether we should get out. Now, there are three big picture conclusions which I think pretty much any objective observer would agree with about what's happened in Iraq during 2007. The first is that there's really been no political reconciliation, which was the strategic aim of the surge in the first place. If anything, it's actually gone downhill as a Maliki government has basically fallen apart. Secondly, the security picture across the country is at best mixed. There's areas where things were improving, things were going downhill. Again, across the board, pretty much mixed. The one exception is Anbar province, which, to give some context, isn't just one province in Iraq. It's a very big one, and it covers a lot of what was the heartland of the Sunni insurgency. The security situation has improved there, though it's really not clear that it's because of the surge at all. In fact, that improvement began before the surge, and the main reason seems to be that we are now allying with the groups that we were previously fighting. We are arming a lot of the people who actually made up the Sunni insurgency, and in what seems to be happening, align with them against the central government. So an improvement in security, but pretty questionable in terms of our long-term goal of having a unified Iraqi government. Now, going into this debate and leading into the Petraeus report that's going to be coming next week, I want to talk about the use of statistics as people try to get a handle on whether the surge has succeeded or not. And what we're seeing a lot of is administration officials, generals, pro-surge advocates mobilizing statistics that just seem to be completely false on their face. Now, we have two examples we're going to show you. One is from General Odierno from 2 weeks ago, Sunday, or 10 days ago, talking about the supposed decline of civilian casualties in Iraq. Take a look.
The Associated Press has a story out this weekend saying the number of civilian deaths in Iraq this year, 2007, skyrocketing. They said last year, by their count, there were 13,811 civilian deaths in Iraq. So far this year, 14,800 on a daily basis. It's gone from 33 a day in 2006 so far to 62 a day in 2007. Are those numbers consistent with what you're seeing, General?
I read the article very quickly. I'm not familiar with where they got their numbers from, so I don't know how accurate they are. What I do know is civilian deaths are down. Sectarian violence is down in Iraq. It is down in Baghdad. That's the numbers I track. So I'm not sure where they got their numbers from, but what I do know is civilian deaths are down and sectarian violence is down.
So Odierno says that sectarian violence and civilian deaths in Iraq are on the way down, but the actual concrete statistics that we seem to have, and the best of those are compiled by the Associated Press, seems to say the exact opposite. Now, next we have Representative Bustani from just this last Sunday making the same argument and then confronted with pretty much the same statistics from Wolf Blitzer. Take a look.
But we're clearly seeing some major improvements. Clearly in the Anbar province, we have seen significant improvement. We were able to walk the streets of Fallujah. Sectarian deaths are down, our attacks are down.
You say that the number of casualties is going down, but we took a closer look, and the Los Angeles Times did as well, citing Iraqi health ministry numbers. In June, it was 1,227 civilian deaths in Iraq. In July, it went up to 1,753 civilian deaths in Iraq. And in August, the month that just ended, 1,773 civilian deaths in Iraq. Those numbers are going in the wrong direction.
Well, I think what I mentioned earlier, Wolf, was the number of attacks. And clearly, we have to look at all the metrics very carefully.
But, you know, statistics, you can play a lot of room with statistics. In terms of dead people, civilians, Iraqi dead people, those numbers are high and they're getting worse, despite the increased military troop levels of the United States, the so-called surge, having been in effect over the past couple of months.
But Wolf, I want to point out that just 2 or 3 months ago, I would have never thought that 4 members of Congress would be able to walk through the streets of Fallujah. That's a major...
But you had a lot of security with you. You had a lot of U.S. military protection.
We had a platoon of Marines.
A platoon of Marines is a lot of Marines to walk through Fallujah.
But Wolf, 3 months ago, 2 months ago, not even that could have happened. So well,
I was in Fallujah 2 years ago, and it was a bad situation then. But some argue that it's, you know, maybe there's a slight improvement right now, but it's still very dangerous.
I would argue that
if you didn't have a platoon of Marines with you, you wouldn't be walking around by yourself.
I would argue that the improvement has been major in Fallujah.
So you can see there again, Representative Bustani, he's confronted with actual statistics, and he can't really figure out what to say. And I want keep an eye out for this over the next couple weeks. When you see these statistics or so-called statistics being aired, see if members of the press actually call these people on these stats and see if they will make them stand up against the real statistics, again, being compiled by news organizations in the country. Now we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back in a moment. Okay, we're back. Now again, going into the next 2 weeks, as the question of the success or failure of the surge gets debated, and more broadly, what we're going to do in Iraq, keep track of who is using what statistics. Now, there's 4 articles we're going to point you to that have objective statistics about civilian deaths, military casualties, and so forth, compiled by news organizations. One is by the Associated Press, there's another by the Los Angeles Times, and another by the New York Times, 3 articles, I guess. The links are right here accompanying this video, so take a look at those. Arm yourself with the factual information as near as we can arrive at it, and then watch news reports and interviews with those in mind. See who's citing the right statistics and see who's not, and see, in the latter case, whether anybody's actually calling anybody on these bogus statistics that people keep bringing up. I'm Josh Marshall for TPM Media, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.